This has been as unforgettable as a season you could pretty much ask for as a fan of a sports club, and especially if you're a fan of the Winnipeg Jets. We've never seen anything like this in the franchise's return to Winnipeg, in the last almost 15 years almost of this club being back in Winnipeg. This team has just set records this year, done things we've never expected. It had so many unsung heroes, improved players, MVPs, and just so many guys that have been so crucial to the success of this club this year. And I think with the season winding down, I want to make a couple of videos and pinpoint some guys in particular that I really thought helped this team get to where they are. And when I look at most improved player, I think of a guy like Dylan Sandberg. Obviously, his game is super impactful to the club, but I think he's more underrated than improved when you look at how crucial he is to the Winnipeg Jets. So when I look at improved guys, I have to go with Cole Perfetti. I think what Cole Perfetti has done this season, the way he's established himself as a consistent threat in the NHL, as a real presence in the Jets' top six, he has done everything you can do to finally, put himself on that, real NHL trajectory and being a stable top six guy. Because, a couple of years ago, let's be real. Cole Perfetti is the youngest guy on this team. It's not too long ago he was out there in the OHL, putting up impressive numbers, enough to get him noticed by a lot of NHL clubs, including the Winnipeg Jets, that made him a first-round pick not too long ago in the 2020 draft. So, this is a guy that put up a pretty damn successful year before getting drafted by the Winnipeg Jets, and, has had again some pretty successful years with this club as well. He didn't take as much of a big step with his full NHL year last year, with only 38 points from the 30 he had last year, but this year with the 48 points in 77 games, 18 goals, 30 assists, a plus 15, he's been super stable in that second line with Nikolai Ehlers, on a very valuable contract to this team at only 3.25. I wish the Jets would have signed him for longer term because they're gonna have to pay him a lot in a season from now. But he's been super important. It's not for, there was a while people were talking about Perfetti kind of being a bust, and when you look at guys also taken in this draft, the Jets took him 10th overall. You look at other guys taken in this first round, he's done pretty well for himself in his young career. And the reason, again, why I think Cole Perfetti is the most underrated player this year, not underrated, most improved, excuse me, is because if you go in a time machine, go back a year from now, with the Jets heading into the playoffs, Cole Perfetti was a healthy scratch with Rick Bowness, and now under Scott Arniel, he's in the top 10 of scoring for this team, number 6. He's one of the most consistent guys out there for the offense at times. Has really found chemistry with Nikolai Ehlers, has developed his game, is much better on the boards, is a real presence with the puck, even with his speed not being there as much. He's taken a lot of good strides to improve his game, with the fact that he's not the quickest guy out there, and he's done really well in my opinion, and has really meshed well with a lot of the Jets veterans, and has been super impactful and important in this top 6 finding so much consistency. He's really had a damn good year for this club, and I think that we kind of all expected this. We could kind of see it as Jets fans with how Cole Perfetti was as a player with his first 2 years. We could sense that the next big step was coming. He just needed to finally get some confidence in his game, and I think being scratched last year by Rick Bowness for as long as he was, and especially considering that he only was introduced to the lineup in the playoffs for Game 5, which was an elimination game, and he looked pretty okay. But the fact that the Jets had played 4 other playoff games without Cole Perfetti in their lineup and just had him as a healthy scratch, and were introducing a guy like Axel Johnson Fajalbi in Game 4, you got to be kidding me. It's a head scratcher for sure. So when you look at how impactful Perfetti is now, being in the lineup a season later removed from when he wasn't in the lineup as a healthy scratch, you can't deny how impactful he's been to this club. And I think that long term, he's going to be one of these guys the Jets need to look at signing for a while, especially with his contract coming up. I think he's shown on this bridge deal what type of player he is and how valuable he is to this club, especially, with Nikolai Ehlers. We have this whole thing coming up with him, and we'll be talking about Ehlers as well in videos coming up. But, the season winding down and, really looking at this team, you look at the guys who've put up the most points, and you look at, the most consistent guys, which areas of the Jets team have shined consistently for a full 82-game season almost. And I got to say, Cole Perfetti has been up there with the second line. There have been areas where they haven't scored goals and have had streaks of, lack of offense. But I look at the consistency of their play, and it's right up there with, some of the best lines in hockey. And I really think Perfetti's growth has been a huge reason for that success of this team, and another reason why the Jets, found a new identity with this club. Introducing a guy like Perfetti, the confidence in his game, supporting his game, and getting him the confidence he needs to, find this NHL level of play consistent night in and night out. And he found that this year. He's been incredible. That goal he scored against the Vancouver Canucks a week ago was just insane. It was lights out performance, and we've just been seeing a lot more of that. And especially with the Velarde injury in this later part of the this season. He's really stepped up, and he's had big nights, and 3-game goal streaks, 4-game point streaks, like really playing well and being a stable, consistent part of this offense and reliable, when injuries have happened. So that's all you can really ask for in a young player and hope in a young player. And we've seen that with Perfetti, in a great year for a team, with a lot of guys stepping up and having great depth years, great depth performances from a lot of guys in this club. The growth in Perfetti's game has been so impactful and important, and just cannot be understated. I think he really is the most improved player on this club. I think that, when you look at where his game is going with his career, how could you not be excited as a Jets fan? I hope they can keep him locked up for a while. I really expect him to grow into a really consistent, good power forward for us and for the rest of his future. So I've been super impressed with his growth this year, really happy with it. And, we knew it was coming. It was about time, but that goal the other night when he was flying through the ice, scoring goals, winning games for this club, it's everything we all knew we could see from Cole Perfetti. It's crazy a year ago he scratched. Look how important he is now. I'm excited for the playoffs, and you all too. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, peace, love, and positivity. As always, go Jets, go. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already for all things Winnipeg Jets. The playoffs are right around the corner. Again, thank you so much for watching. Peace, love, and positivity. As always, go Jets, go. And I will see you all in the next one very, very soon. It'll all be over. It'll all